My name is Brian Morrison. I'm the Vice President of Learning and Development at Bambee. Bambee is an HR tech platform in the Los Angeles market. We support businesses in all 50 states. Go-to-market message is that we believe that businesses should have access to affordable HR support. And that includes a number of other supporting functions like access to HR-backed payroll and the ability to effectively develop employees through employee training and some of those things like that. So we're one of the fastest growing startups in LA. Excited, we've been using Assembly for a while. We have a lot of really big goals this year, but Assembly is one of those tools that I think we use quite a bit to recognize others, within our organization. So I started using Assembly prior to the pandemic, and I think it was just right before, COVID started, we were using it. But as we shifted to a full remote company for almost 2 years, it was really evident to us that we had to keep engagement up. And engagement as a remote workforce, in some ways, is way more important than when you're having in-office culture. An in-office culture, gives you the ability to, grab lunch together, go get a coffee, shoot the breeze, depending on what kind of things you have in the office, you could, go somewhere and sit in the lounge or whatever. But when everybody's kind of siloed in their house, being able to recognize others and for other people to see that recognition happen, I think was really important for us. It kind of evolved over a period of time, but it really helped us solve some of those engagement issues that we were experiencing early on in the pandemic. And it's been a very emotional couple of years for just about everybody. And so that positive vibe that you get from, because we have the Slack integration, so you have the shout out channel, and you have that a couple extra minutes before a meeting, people navigate to some of the culture channels in our Slack groups. And that's one of those channels where it's always, I still enjoy going onto the feed, whether it's in the Slack channel or onto the Assembly feed itself, and just kind of seeing who's giving shout outs and what memes they're using or GIFs they're using. I mean, it's awesome. So I think that that ability to kind of come together on that human element definitely was a big reason why we decided to use Assembly. I loved Bonusly. I used it a lot, at ZipRecruiter, and I have pretty strict loyalty. And so, when Jonathan, kind of stacked us against Bonusly, it was a no-brainer for me to go with, the Upstart. And I'm really happy that we did, because I know a lot of the features that you guys are building and have built are things that I wished Bonusly had at the time. Again, even the features at the time, and even down to these really little minor things, like being able to customize the amount of points that you award versus like a set amount. Like there was just those little things that I think were really cool that, the team, that your team over there built to kind of differentiate yourself. So I think that was really cool. Well, there wasn't a ton of criteria that we were looking at. I think I was really pushing the organization to have some sort of digital recognition, because I saw the effects of it at ZipRecruiter, and it's just one of those things that just catches on. And, I was a little concerned about it here. I'm like, well, maybe it's not going to be as big of a deal, but like, it just kind of took off. And, I go in there now, and it's part of our onboarding. Like when we have a new person start, we have like 4 or 5 slides that talk about Assembly, and we show people how to use it and how to redeem their rewards and what the cultural rewards are versus donating to, to charities and things like that. So it's part of our culture now, and it's crazy for me because I was part of like getting it started. And sometimes I forget about it, but then I go back to it and I'm like, holy shit, like everybody's using it and they're recognizing each other. It's grown into its own kind of thing here at Bambee, which I really love. So it caught on really quickly. And I think, like I said, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I talk about it during our onboarding, and this was something that I did at ZipRecruiter when I onboarded people there. We made sure we showed people how to give recognition. It's one of those things that, we take a lot of pride in the culture of Bambee and, recognizing others, and it's one of those things that, like, no matter how busy we get, it doesn't take a lot of time to type in a couple of fields to select a core value and give somebody a shout out. And across the board, I see it, I see engineers using it. I see product people using it. I see sales, CS, everybody kind of uses it, which, is something that I'm super proud of. Your ability to continue to kind of reinvent who you guys are as a company has been really cool to see. I don't know if I would use the word surprising, but some of the features, like I was going through them today, and just the breadth of features that you guys have available now, it's pretty astounding. And so, I could see you guys really being a competitor to a lot of different software companies out there in like the people space because of the amount of features and tools that you guys have available, which is super cool. I really like that it gives us a recap of the top earners, like over the last 30 days. So we don't do these as much as we used to, but we're going to get back to them this year. We do these things called a company rally or a Bambee rally. And the Bambee rally is less of an all hands. The all hands are kind of reserved for like actual updates, like how are we tracking towards KPIs and key metrics and things like that. Company rallies are more like recognition of like people doing awesome things. And so I made these graphics where like I would put, like the king of the assembly for the month or queen of the assembly for the month, and then put a crown on them, and it shows like their top assembly earner for the last 30 days. And we kind of throw up some of their assembly, some of the recognition that they received from their peers. I think that was one of the things that I really liked using, and one of the kind of, I guess, I don't know if it's interesting, might not be unique, but I really love doing that as a way to kind of show that like this person is, kind of a real team player, because look at all the recognition they've been receiving from their peers, which, I think is super cool. Definitely is kind of one of our cornerstones when it comes to culture. And I think the interesting thing about assembly is, I mentioned this to you guys at the beginning of the call, things get super busy, and we have very lofty, like, aggressive goals for 2022. And sometimes, as much as I hate to admit it, some of those things that are related to culture do tend to slip a little bit. Like the happy hours don't happen on the regular basis like they used to, the team lunches, because everybody is just, head down working. And I think that's a good thing in a way, because I think we all really believe in the direction of the company and the potential for the company. So I'm happy that that's happening. But sometimes, I'm part of the executive team and we know where the company's going, but sometimes some of the individual contributors, they can maybe lose sight of the fact that like their work is contributing to this like really impressive goals and like direction of the company. So being able to have a tool that is still working day in and day out with me not having to really have somebody, tending to it is really exciting, because at least we know there is this layer of culture, and recognition that is continuously happening. And I think it's so important, for a business to have that. So I think for me, the impact has just been like, it's one of those things that I can always trust is going to be happening from a cultural standpoint. And it's made a great impact on our the psyche of the employees and their morale. You guys are like the Oreos of digital recognition.